African leopard. He's restless and ready for the hunt. It's been a long winter for the drivers and their teams. They're ready, for the 1982 Grand Prix season is about to begin.
Grand Prix today. Brought to you by Toyota, who invites you to visit your local Toyota dealer and test drive the right stuff, the 1982 Celica Supra. And by Canon, so advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography.
Kyalami, South Africa, just 25 miles north of Johannesburg. And the sun is shining bright, and the fans are coming out in droves to witness the opening race of the 1982 Grand Prix season. The expected fit turnout is somewhere between 70 and 80,000 people, and from the looks of the road, it sure appears like they're going to be here. The 1982 Grand Prix season about ready to get underway. Hello everyone, I'm Bruce Flanders, and welcome to Grand Prix Today. We're going to be bringing you some very exciting action from Kyalami, South Africa. And with me to co-host it is Mr. Pete Lyons. And Pete is the current editor of Import Automotive Parts and Accessories magazine. But he's also been a professional auto racing journalist for over 15 years. And many race fans have seen his stories in such magazines as Car and Driver and Grand Prix International and Auto Week. Pete, you actually traveled the circuit itself for about 3 years. That must be tough.
Yes, I did, Bruce. It was 4 years. I spent 4 entire racing seasons following Formula One racing around the world. And it was a lot of fun, but it was a little rough sometimes. I had to live in a suitcase all the time.
What do you expect to see today?
It's going to be a good race, I think. It's quite interesting. It's the first one of a new season, new cars, new drivers, and a lot of horsepower from these turbocharged cars. That should be interesting.
Well, we're going to find out more about it in just a little while. In fact, right after this.
Presenting the new Toyota Supra and Dan Gurney. It takes the right stuff to make a great performance car. Come ride with Dan Gurney and see.
It's quick off the line. That's the twin-cam fuel-injected engine. Now let's see the independent four-wheel suspension in action. Handles well. Nice brakes.
The new Toyota Celica Supra.
That's the right stuff.
Supra!
Michelob brings you the 7-day weekend. Good eating style. Special of the week for gourmet's delight. Here's how to add a little weekend flavor to any dish. Serve with generous portions of Michelob, because that smooth and mellow taste helps make any time feel a little like a weekend.
Put a little weekend in your week.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting aspects of Grand Prix racing is all the traveling and all the interesting places to see. And Johannesburg, South Africa is definitely in that category. Let's take a look. Johannesburg stands 6,000 feet above sea level and is known as the City of Gold. Born as a mining camp in 1886, it's grown phenomenally and is the largest city in South Africa, boasting a population of 2 million. Johannesburg is a major commercial and financial center, known best for its precious metals and gems. But it's also a cosmopolitan city and is known for fine restaurants, shops, and theater. And each year, Johannesburg puts out a warm welcome for the South African Grand Prix. Pete, to the non-technical people that are out there, how could you easily describe a Formula One car, or can it be done?
Well, I hope it can be done. I can use this model to show you. A Formula One car basically is a single-seater. The driver sits in the middle here. The engine is behind him. You'll notice that it has exposed wheels. This is part of the regulations. The width across the body at this point can only be 1.4 meters, which is about 5 feet. This is why you see the cars with their wheels exposed like this. Now, one of the most significant things about modern Formula One cars, I'll have to turn it upside down to show you. You see this very interesting shape of the belly of the car here. Here's where the driver sits, here's where the engine is. Now, each side of him on these 1.4 meter wide pods, you see the interesting shape here. It's shaped just like the top of an airplane wing turned upside down. Now, what happens is that as the car goes along the racetrack, the air rams into these venturi ducts, gets back to here, starts to expand, and the net result is lowered pressure here. That low pressure is kept in place by these skirts, which actually rub along the road, so that when the car is on the ground like this, going at high speed, there's actually pressure pushing the car down, or sucking the car down, and therefore it can go very, very fast through the corners.
Well, they're an intriguing piece of machinery. There's another aspect involved in this particular event that is of interest probably to a lot of people. There's a driver's strike. Now,
Yes.
that makes big headlines, but what does it mean?
Well, the machinery is interesting, but there are people involved in racing too, and where you have people, you have politics. Now, on the first day of the 3-day schedule, what you ought to be seeing is lots of drivers out practicing for the race 2 days hence. However, this is the first Grand Prix of the season, and the drivers decided that they had to make a stand. Basically, they're upset by a couple of clauses in the new license regulations that they were required to sign this year. Now, these are usually highly independent individuals, but in this cause, they've banded together and they've refused to climb into their cars. It's a strike. Actually, the whole first day of the schedule has gone away in talking and negotiations. Now, Bernie Ecclestone and Jean-Marie Belest of the constructors and of the sports governing body, the FISA, spent the whole day negotiating and talking with the drivers' representatives, who were led by Didier Pironi, who went back and forth in a helicopter to where the drivers were holed up several miles away from the circuit, barricaded. Some of the team managers, of course, wanted to find another driver, and of course the mechanics had absolutely nothing to do, and these $250,000 race cars sat completely idle for a whole day.
We'll be right back, and there will be some action. The excitement of Grand Prix racing through the streets of Long Beach, California. It all happens April 2, 3, 4. All the color, all the sounds, all the flavor of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Make plans now to be there as the city streets come alive with some of the most exotic racing machinery in the world. Formula One. For ticket information or
That's a new camera.
John, I'm working. Can I have my camera back?
Just one more.
It's Canon's new AE1 program. Even simpler to use.
This new Canon AE1 program's super. Just one more.
No matter how tough the light, the new program mode makes it easy to shoot like a pro.
Here, get to work.
The new AE1 program.
Keep drawing the ball.
So advanced, it's simple. And more of both.
Well, with all the politics involved in the South African race, it took them a long time to actually get onto the racetrack for their first practice session. But boy, once Formula One cars finally do get onto a racetrack, it's something to see. Pete, apparently the drivers are now all returning. That looks like Nelson Piquet.
That's Nelson Piquet. He and Didier Pironi, who's the president of the Drivers Association, they've spent the whole night in a hotel room. They didn't get very much sleep. All of them were together in one room, sleeping on the floor. But now they've got to climb into these 500 horsepower cars and go as fast as they can, and there's only one day left to do it. They're going out on the track now to do some warm-up laps and to get the cars settled in for the afternoon's qualifying session. And this man, Nelson Piquet, the world champion, is not out there. What's happened is that Bernie Ecclestone, who's the president of the Constructors Association, has decided that his driver didn't get enough sleep last night. And so he's held him back for the morning, letting everybody else go out there and set their cars up. However, in the afternoon, of course, Nelson will still be able to go out and qualify as fast as he can. This is the afternoon session. It's only 1 hour long, and he's got to do his best possible lap in only 1 hour.
The qualifying for Formula One is a whole different process than, say, for NASCAR or whatever. And to tell you more about that, one of our most colorful crew members, Mike Dudson.
Bruce, it's the end of qualifying here at Kyalami. Behind me in the pit lane, the mechanics are hard at work. And that is a welcome sight, because the 1982 South African Grand Prix is a race that almost didn't take place. We expected a battle during qualifying between the three top turbo teams, Ferrari, Renault, and Brabham with the new turbocharged BMW engine. And sure enough, that's exactly what we got. At the end of today's shortened qualifying period, we have René Arnoux on pole position in the Renault with a time of 1 minute 6 seconds, .35. Close behind him is world champion Nelson Piquet with a time of 1 minute 6 seconds, .62. And third fastest with a time of 1 minute 7.11 seconds is Canadian Gilles Villeneuve with the turbo Ferrari, now using a chassis which is designed by an Englishman but built in Italy. Pole position remains with the Frenchman Arnoux, and we spoke with him earlier today.
I am very happy for the first Grand Prix and for my first pole position for the first race. And I hope tomorrow is the same, but the race is always long, and this year there is 6 cars with a turbocharged, very competitive.
Arnaud on the pole and Nelson Piquet on the outside of him, and we talked to the designer of the Brabham.
Gordon Murray, your cars are second and fourth on the grid with Nelson Piquet and Riccardo Patrese. What do you think is your chance of a victory in tomorrow's race?
I think from a speed point of view we have a chance, but from a reliability point of view I think we'd be very lucky to have even one car finish, because it's a very new car and engine combination.
In fact, you switched from the Cosworth engine last year to the BMW engine turbocharged, which is a completely new kind of technology for you, isn't it?
It makes things a lot more complicated, yes, fitting the engine in and all the bits and pieces that go with a turbocharged engine.
Eddie Cheever is the only Native American currently on the Formula One circuit.
Eddie Cheever, this is your third season, full season in Formula One. You're now with the Talbot Ligier team. How do you feel about your prospects with this French team?
I'm very pleased. So far I've done not very much testing this winter, but the miles that I have done, I've learned a lot. It's a very big team. They have a lot of means, a lot of money, and they have a lot of new material that we'll have, I hope, within 2 or 3 months.
As yet, your team doesn't have a turbocharged engine. How soon do you think that Talbot will have the new turbocharged Matra engine?
I think it'll be in a car within a month and a half, 2 months.
Niki Lauda, the one they call Super Rat, picked this race to start his comeback. He's a 2-time retired champion in Formula One.
Niki, this is the first race after your comeback. You did some very promising times during the pre-race testing, but yesterday in qualifying you had a little problem. Can you tell me more about that?
Yesterday I had a brain failure and didn't brake early enough, left the braking too late and went off. It was simple as this, and by the time I got my car going, the rain came, so I couldn't improve my time. But I hope that the car will be much better in the race so I can do better.
Niki, for the remainder of this season, what is going to be your tactic to try to beat the turbo cars? Will you try to beat the turbo cars, or will you just try to be the first non-turbo home?
There's no way in life that you can drive 100 horsepower. The turbo has 100 horsepower more, so any normal engine-driven car has no chance whatsoever. The only chance we do have is to attack as much as possible to beat the other Ford cars and hope that the turbos blow up.
The turbocharged Renault is currently the quickest car on the circuit. And here's a close-up look of the Gordini Renault engine compartment and its turbocharging mechanics. But is there a simpler way, Pete, for us to explain to someone at home about turbocharging?
Sure. First, you have to understand that there are 2 different engine sizes allowed in Formula One. The normal ones displace 3 liters. The turbocharged ones only have 1.5 liters. The difference is made up with a turbocharger. Now, a turbocharger is simply a special kind of supercharger, and it's nothing more than an air pump. You hook up this part of the turbocharger to the engine exhaust system. It blows a hot stream of air through here, spins this little pinwheel that you see in here. That in turn spins this pinwheel, which sucks a nice fresh charge of cold air in from the outside, rams it into the engine, and a little engine can be made to act like a big one, even more.
Well, that's simple. I'll tell you what, we are going to come back, and we are going to South Africa, and finally, going racing today.
The forecast is for more snow and hazardous driving conditions. Watch out for slippery going.
We'll make it, Sarge.
When people are counting on you to come through, it's nice to have a Toyota Corolla Tercel pulling for you. The 1982 front-wheel drive Toyota Tercel, Toyota's lowest priced car. The Toyota Tercel, a car that pulls its own weight and a little bit more. Tercel!
Buds for all the guys who keep the action from getting out of hand.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
The most intimate look at Formula One racing is available now. Grand Prix International, the only magazine that exclusively covers the complete Formula One circuit, can be in your hands within 10 days after each Grand Prix event. Lap charts, technical information, exclusive interviews, breathtaking pictures, and all the latest Grand Prix news. To ensure your complete set of Grand Prix Internationals for the 1982 season, call now to order. The charge line phone number is 213-436-9953.
The temperature in South Africa is in the 80s. It's very comfortable for the, nearly 80,000 people lined up on this beautiful racetrack. And Pete, tell me a little bit more about the circuit.
Well, I've been to Kyalami several times, and it's one of the more interesting racetracks on the Grand Prix circuit. There's a nice variety of bends, fast ones and medium slow ones, and it's got this tremendously long straight. You come up a hill, past the grandstands and the start-finish line in the pits. You go down this hill, and in practice, some of the cars were exceeding 200 miles per hour, and then they get hard on the brakes and go down to maybe 120 through this corner. Then those ground effects that we told you about earlier can allow the driver to go flat out through these swerves at more than 180 miles per hour. This is what the driver sees as he goes by the pits at those tremendous speeds and down the hill into the first corner, waiting till the last possible instant. He stomps as hard on the brakes as he can, downshifts, bends the car into this first corner, which is nearly blind, it's very bumpy, and it's much tighter than it looks. Then, now it's full-out acceleration. The turbo cars have 550 horsepower, pushing them back up to 160, 180 miles an hour. The ground effects are pushing the car down on the road, and the driver's foot never leaves the throttle until here. As he brakes and slows down into Sunset Corner, one of the medium-speed corners on the circuit, and notice how he stays over. He's going to join the right side of the circuit to slow down and go around its tightest corner on the track. Now it's accelerating again up through the gears into the S's. A very quick left followed by a very quick right, and then uphill into a decreasing radius right-hander, which is the last corner on the circuit, up over a hummock, which makes the cars go light, and then full throttle, all the way up to top speed again, heading toward the pits. It's about 2.5 miles to the lap at Kyalami, and the average speed of René Arnoux was over 139 miles per hour.
Well, the cars are working their way up to the dummy grid right now, and the starting positions read like this. Jean-Pierre Jarier was the slowest one to make the field, then Chico Serra, Derek Daly, Slim Borgood, Jochen Moss, Raoul Bosel, then it's Winkelhock, Manfred Winkelhock, Giacomelli, Mansell, Eddie Cheever, the American, is in row 9. Row 8 is Andrea De Cesaris and Elio De Angelis. Row 7, Derek Warwick and Nicky Lauda. Row 6, we find some heavier names as we find Salazar and Lafitte. In row 5, it'll be Michele Alboreto and Watson. Then we get into the fastest cars on the field. Sitting on the outside of the 4th row, the man who missed the World Championship by only 1 point last year, Carlos Reutemann. Then on the inside of him, his new teammate, Kiki Rosberg, a 33-year-old Finn. Then we move up to the next row and find that blood-red Ferrari, 30-year-old Didier Pironi, the Frenchman. And inside of him, it will be the first of the Renaults, the turboed RE30Bs, 25-year-old Alain Prost. The second row, outside, Brabham BT50, 27-year-old Riccardo Patrese, the Italian. Inside of him, another blood-red Ferrari, and it's 29-year-old Gilles Villeneuve from Canada. Then to the front row, where the real heavies sit in this one, and in the Brabham BT49, 30-year-old world champion Nelson Piquet, and on the pole, the quick guy at this racetrack, 33-year-old René Arnoux in the Renault. What a lineup, what a field. As they get set for the green flag, watch them close. That green could come at any time as the different line marshals are backing away from their points. You see the red lights on the chase car at the back of the pack ready. This countdown could come at any second. The engine noise is beginning to come up. It is race time, finally, in South Africa. Watch them close. There'll be a green light and a flag come out at the same time with it to set it up. There is the look at the light. It has not turned yet. There it went, and here they come. Look out, Piquet is left cold at the line. The defending world champion is being eaten alive right now, and the Renaults are on their way. Look at that tremendous start by René Arnoux in the Renault. What a mouthful of name. Watch him as he comes up to the corner. The first corner in Formula One is always one of the most exciting places to be, and it's Arnoux with Prost, it looks like, in the second spot as they come around. What a tremendous drive by those turbocharged. Turbocharged cars aren't supposed to get underway that quick, are they, Pete?
The Renault team has been working and working for several years on these cars, and they obviously have got it just right. Look at the lead they pulled out, and they're not a mile into the first lap yet.
Well, the top four, as they go by our camera position there, it's Arnoux out in front of it, Prost right behind him, the two Renaults leading right now. Then it's Villeneuve and Pironi, the two blood-red Ferraris, running right in second place, and turbocharging appears to have a handle on the thing at the moment, Pete.
It's certainly very impressive, but notice how far back Nelson Piquet went. He went from the front row of the grid right at the start. He obviously got a very bad start. I don't know whether it was turbo. There's been an accident. That's Jean-Pierre Jarre, whose car has gone off the road into the catch fences. He's obviously okay, but that car is certainly damaged. It's not going to get out.
History. The Dena Masella car is now done for the day. It looks as though there's a lot of nose damage on it, and they will not be able to get that car back into.
But you see how useful these catch fences are. I mean, these are a wonderful idea. That car has plowed into those hurricane fences mounted on poles, and he's okay.
All right, let's go right back into the race, and it's those yellow and white French turbocharged 1500cc Renaults in front of the turbocharged Ferraris. The Ferraris are a new story this year, are they not, chassis-wise?
Yes, the chassis of the Ferraris now, for the first time, are designed by an Englishman, Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite, which is an interesting name, and he's an interesting guy. He was with James Hunt and the Hesketh team for several years. He's been with other teams, and now he's gone freelance and has designed a new chassis for Ferrari, which is obviously working fairly well, but not as well as these Renaults. Look at that car go. That's the slowest corner in the circuit. He's going over 100 miles an hour.
There are 4 different brands of tires represented on this racetrack today. Michelin, Goodyear, Pirelli, and Avon, if I'm not mistaken.
The English team, yes.
And we are sitting out front with a pair of Michelins being chased by a pair of Goodyears, aren't we now?
At the moment, yes. Ferrari was on Michelin up until the end of last year. Now they've gone to Goodyear. They are obviously doing very well.
Boy, very well indeed. Those Michelins seem to be sticking like glue at the moment. It's still René Arnoux out in front of it, Alain Prost, his teammate, behind him. And let's get into this because we constantly hear about teammate structure in Formula One that is different than the way American racing is used to. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, with the top teams, the fact the driver is a teammate of another doesn't necessarily mean he's going to help him at any point. They're both out there for the World Championship. They're both top-class drivers, and they're going for it. The only time you get team orders, per se, is if one driver is leading in the World Championship on points. He may very well be given an advantage by his teammate to help consolidate that victory on behalf of the team. But if the second man has a really good chance to be world champion, look out.
2.5 miles around each time they do it. They're going for a total of 77 laps, or just under 200 miles total run. And right now, the Ferrari people are in 3rd and 4th place. That's with Gilles Villeneuve, the Canadian, and Didier Pironi right behind him. They are chasing hard after the Renaults, but apparently the Renaults have got some horsepower on them.
Well, it looks like horses for courses again, doesn't it? 2 Renaults, 2 Ferraris, and all 4 of them are turbocharged cars.
Not wanting to make you into a prognosticator out of this deal, but will these turbos live? Have they got efficiency built into them?
They've won before. There's no reason they can't do it today. The advantage they're getting, of course, is this very high altitude. Up at Kyalami, 6,000 feet, the air is perhaps 80% as thick as it is down at sea level. Therefore, the normal 3-liter cars are only running on perhaps 400 horsepower instead of the 500 they should get. The turbocharged cars are developing their full 550 or more, and they are going very fast.
Well, the way they are running right now is effectively the same way they were doing in their practice times. They're just dominating the situation.
Right, they own this racetrack at this moment, for sure.
Those 1,500cc Renaults are definitely putting the horsepower to the ground and running away from the 3-liter. Look out. Who was that?
That's Nelson Piquet. That's the world champion. He's just crashed.
He was just coming back from a tremendously terrible start.
Right, we saw him at the start lose fire or something. He got off to a terrible start, lost a lot of ground. He was back to 13th place. He must have been charging up through the field, and without being able to talk to him, I don't know what's gone wrong. But he's hit the fences at the first corner. He's certainly all right, but you can see how important those catch fences are.
It appears as though the defending world champion is history in the opening round.
Boy, what a weekend he's had. First, he had to sleep with other drivers in a room. Then he wasn't allowed to go out and practice. Now he's got to walk home. It's a long walk, too.
It would have to be an awfully upsetting feeling right now. The race continues on, by the way, and they're just...
Hey!
What is he
shouldn't
doing?
be doing that. That is very naughty. Drivers have been fined for that in the past. Look at that. Those cars are coming down on him at awfully high speed.
Wow. I mean, he just jogs across the track like he owns it, right?
He's definitely upset.
All right, one of the turbocharged BMWs is now history. It was the one driven by the world champion Nelson Piquet, and the situation doesn't look good for the Brabham team at the moment. They have got one remaining car out on the track. We'll tell you more about that as it comes up, but let's go back out where our leaders are. Here it is after 5 laps. Arnaud leading, Prost second, Gilles Villeneuve is third, 4th place is Peroni, then Patrese, and then KK Rosberg. And Rosberg is doing a heck of a job.
Rosberg is in the first of the normally aspirated 3-liter engines, the Williams. It's his first race of the team this year.
The Williams uses that Ford Cosworth. It's the same engine used in a lot of forms throughout the world, isn't it?
Right. It's well, it's used primarily in Formula One. A close relative is often used in Indianapolis, where it's the dominant engine at the moment.
Well, it's definitely not the dominating one at this high-altitude racetrack in Kyalami, South Africa. It is Renaults and Ferraris, pairs apiece, running 1st through 4th at the moment. And in this situation, I would suspect we might see more turbocharged cars before the season's over, or will things change?
They're all working on turbos. It's just because of the equivalency formula, which equates a half-size engine to a full-size engine unfairly. In my opinion, the 1500cc cars with their turbos produce too much horsepower.
All right, too much horsepower and probably spotty points in their horsepower range, too. It's like a good two-stroke?
They are more difficult to drive, for sure. Year by year, the technicians develop them so that they're easier to drive, more smooth on the power. The problem with a turbo engine is that when the driver puts his foot down in a corner, trying to leave the corner, the engine doesn't respond right away. This is called turbo lag.
Why is there so much bouncing around right there? There's a real tight shot on number 16. That's René Arnaud leading it. And in certain spots on this track, it looks as though he has practically no suspension.
Now you've put your finger on one of the big controversies in Formula One right now. It's due to the aerodynamics, the ground effects system that we saw earlier. The fact is the ground effects, the sucking of the car to the road due to the wind flow through those 2 aerodynamic tunnels either side of the driver, requires that the cars sit down close to the road. They don't have any suspension travel. The cars are like big go-karts. They're faster that way, but what a blow it gives to the driver. Look at their heads wobble as they go over those bumps.
Physically, the demand upon Arnaud and Prost at the moment, is it like running track? Or
in a corner like this, they're going 3 Gs cornering load. That means their head with their helmet must weigh 50 pounds pushing sideways. Those cars are incredibly fast through corners, and the driver has to be a pretty good athlete to stand it.
We have heard about different types of workouts that these drivers do. By the way, look, that is getting tight right now. Can they be throwing away the team rule book?
Prost is pushing his teammate, for sure. He's feeling his oats, I'd say. He's making up for not a very good practice, and he's coming right up to show his teammate. See, that's Villeneuve.
Villeneuve with a Ferrari.
That's turbo engine gone. I would say that may be a piston broken.
There's definitely a lot of oil smoke. It doesn't look as though there's any oil actually down on the track. Everybody seems to be handling the corner.
No, you'll find that may have been coming out of the exhaust system. If one of the problems with the turbo engine is it puts a tremendous amount of heat, a lot of shock load on the pistons, and pistons can fail.
And he's going to limp that baby clear back to the pit. He probably cannot see all that smoke, or he can in the mirrors.
Well, of course, he's also lost a lot of power. He knows there's something wrong.
All right.
Well, look at that. He's just put his foot down to accelerate up the road to the pits.
We'll be back with more from Kyalami right after this. The excitement of Grand Prix racing through the streets of Long Beach, California. It all happens April 2, 3, 4. All the color, all the sounds, all the flavor of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Make plans now to be there as the city streets come alive with some of the most exotic racing machinery in the world. Formula One. For ticket information or reservations, call now 213-436-9953. Be a part of the 1982 Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
The following performance is brought to you by the Champion Spark Plug Company. We are starting the 1982 performance season with over 197 Formula One victories, domination of international motorcycle championships, worldwide use by major professional racing teams. And we can help you get sure starts, terrific mileage, and performance. Next tune-up, insist on champions. Champion wins the world over.
Get cracking, Tony.
Introducing the 1982 edition of the best-selling car in the world, the Toyota Corolla. Why is it the best-selling car in the world? Maybe people know that they can depend on it, and that gives them a very good feeling. The 1982 Toyota Corolla. Depend on it.
Corolla!
Grand Prix today in Kyalami, South Africa, and we're just about 13 laps into the race right now, and it's René Arnoux with the Renault out in front. That's number 16.
No, it's not. It's Prost. Prost has just passed his teammate.
Did that happen just now?
Yes.
It is Alain Prost, who has taken over the lead, and it's still Renault as a pair, though, out in front, Pete.
Yes, their turbocharged engines are pulling them away from the field, but Prost, who started way back, has on about the third row, has pulled ahead of his teammate now and is going ahead.
All right, well, let's watch it closely, because normally those things, if everything was according to Hoyle, they would not change places, right? I mean, in team-style racing?
If they're doing team strategy, but it's the first race of the season, and I think each driver wants to establish team policy on his own terms.
All right, well, we'll see. There's Slim Borgood, whom we're looking at there. He is a Formula One competitor in the Tyrrell, but he is also, surprisingly, a drummer, or most of the times a drummer, with the group ABBA.
Right,
and here's our retirements, too, after 14 laps. Nigel Mansell out with an electrical problem. Jean-Pierre Jarier, we saw him go into the fence. Nelson Piquet, a little earlier, we saw him go into the fence also. Villeneuve with an engine going away. And Eddie Cheever, the only American, apparently suffered from a vapor lock and lacked all the horsepower in the world.
Right.
Is that Borgood still?
Yes,
Slim
it
Borgood.
is. Slim Borgood again. He's the rock musician. He's doing fairly good here, fairly well. There's the two Renaults right behind him. He better keep watching his mirrors because they're going to overwhelm him fast.
They are coming down on him to at least lap him once at this point.
Yes.
Right? And it is now, as we see it, those two Renaults look an awful lot alike, and one has got number 15 and the other with number 16 on it. They are about as closely matched pair of cars as you're going to find. It looked like from that angle it was number 15, Alain Prost,
yes,
in front by what, about 3 car lengths?
About that, which is nothing at this kind of speed.
No, these guys are running at different areas on this course. You were pointing out to us earlier that there is 180-mile-an-hour turns on this track.
Yes, with your foot flat to the floor.
Oh, what a thrill that'd have to be. Formula One drivers, is there a way that they come up through the ranks?
Oh, yes. What you're seeing here is the pinnacle of racing in terms of road racing. These drivers all started out many years ago in smaller cars, slower cars, in what you might call club races and so on. Here's Borgood. He's just about to be overtaken with his normal car. Look at that turbo car passing. That's 10 miles per hour difference right there, and they're halfway down the straight.
Making an awful lot of horsepower as both Renaults go by Borgood, and now it looks like we might have another challenge. Is Arnoux back challenging Prost?
Yes, they're having fun there.
Having fun at 180 in some spots. On this particular corner, though, they're down quite a bit, aren't they?
Oh, I'd like to do 180 spots around that course. That looks like fun to me.
Let's reinforce our leaderboard as it's shown. Prost leading, Arnoux second, Peroni third, Patrese is now in the 4th place spot, Carlos Reutemann in the normally aspirated car working his way to 5th, and his new teammate, K.K. Rosberg, in the 6th place spot.
Right, Reutemann has pulled up. Rosberg was in 5th or 6th place earlier. Reutemann, who finished 2nd in the championship last year, was thought to be retiring over the winter, changed his mind, has come back, and he's definitely fighting.
All right, the normally aspirated cars at this point that are inside the top 6, they would have to almost consider it a gift due to breakdowns of the other turbos.
You've got 2 different classes here. You've got the turbo cars and everyone else.
Okay, look at that tight shot of the car at speed. René Arnoux and Alain Prost doing a heck of a job.
Coming out on the long straightaway here, the very long first uphill and then downhill main straight of Kyalami. That kink is absolutely flat, foot to the floor. Coming up to the start-finish line and the pits at very high speed.
All right, now most of these cars use a 5-speed transmission, don't they?
5 and 6, yes.
All right, 5 and 6 speeds, and they would probably be shifting about how many times a lap just to take a stab?
To take a stab at it, maybe 6 or 8 or 10 times.
Okay.
It depends a lot on the car, how it's set up, how the driver does, and how the engine characteristics are.
And the transaxles live under all this horsepower. Boy, that is an amazing, amazing thing to me. About 29 laps into the situation right now, and we're taking a good long look at, who is that, number 7?
That's John Watson, the Northern Ireland driver in the McLaren.
That McLaren is a new carbon fiber type of a chassis. It's a strange deal, isn't it?
Right. It's an aerospace structure. It's something like fiberglass, but it's made out of a carbon filament and a resin, and it's very strong and very light and very expensive.
Well, Watson right there trying to set up Bruno Giacomelli in the Alfa Romeo,
right,
and isn't quite getting him.
Yeah, he may get him because he's just about to lap him. There he goes. He's right by the pits now, and he's pulling out of the slipstream.
We have Watson in about the 6th place.
This is the other Alfa, De Cesaris, being passed by one of the Williams. I can't see which. There's Watson. He's completed his pass on Giacomelli.
And as John Watson now is ensconced well up inside the top 10, he becomes a factor.
We've had a couple of problems here. Pironi has stopped in the pits to replace his tires, although he got going again. But the remaining Brabham car has retired in the pits. Patrese is out with piston failure.
All right, they're still sticking the camera right there on John Watson, who is making a very concerted charge at the moment, and that Marlboro McLaren appears to be right at its peak, like the tires are working, like everything is working well for him out on the racetrack.
This is the middle stage of the race where everything is settled down, the cars have lightened a bit, the fuel has begun to burn away, the cars are probably handling about as well as they're going to right now.
Okay, well, apparently Watson appeals to the cameraman all the way around, and Watson definitely looks smooth on this racetrack.
Car, and he's a good, experienced driver.
But the lead still belongs to the Renaults right now, and it is out in front of it, Alain Prost in the number 15 Renault. We'll pick him up. Whoa, there's some interesting maneuvers right there.
Yeah, that's Watson overtaking the other Alpha, putting a lap on him.
He's kind of moving his head around in the car quite a bit. Is that from being jostled? Uh-oh.
What's this? That's Slim Borgood, the rock musician. He's spun out at one of the corners here, and he's going the wrong way down the track. He's obviously trying to restart his engine, but he's doing a real no-no. He's going backwards the wrong way down the track. That should lead to his disqualification.
The corner workers don't know what to do with him. They want to help him clear off the racetrack.
Of course, there's some distance. They don't want to get out there.
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. Now, what's Borgood going to do here? He's going to back it off the racetrack and clear it, right? Okay, well, I wish he would get off the racetrack. He's definitely a hazard in this situation, and cars are coming by at enormous rates of speed. Right? What is he doing?
Well, he's trying to turn around and get to rejoin the race, but he's doing it in a bad way.
This is not a good deal at all. A double-cut U-turn in the middle of a Formula One track.
I can understand a driver's desire to continue the race, but that was naughty. Look, his nose is loose. You see that? He's hit something as he spun.
Definitely a collision, and he's got nose damage. We would expect him to go into the pits, and we would also expect some official to come right down his throat, right?
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's definitely just cruising back to the pits, but what he did was not well.
Proper cricket for him would have been to park it right there, correct? I mean, he shouldn't have made that turn right on the track.
Of course, one of the problems is you understand these cars with their skirts hanging down. Anytime you go off the track, you damage the skirt. You really don't want to do that. I can understand him wanting to do that. There you see the nose bobbling. He's going to have that nose either replaced or fixed back on before he can continue.
The Tyrrell name actually gained its major fame when there was a guy named Jackie Stewart driving for them.
Jackie Stewart was, many people believe he was probably the greatest driver of the modern era. 3 times world champion driving 410 Tyrrell.
There's our leader again, number 15, Alain Prost, definitely on his game at the moment and in charge of the situation, although his teammate René Arnoux is not running as well at the moment. Prost, well out in front. The young Frenchman, well, I don't know how young, 25. I guess that's pretty young for this circuit.
Seems young to me.
It seems young to me at the moment, too. Alain Prost in command of it, and we're going to be coming right back to Kyalami after this.
Introducing a dog's best friend, the 1982 Toyota 4x4, with a kind of sure-footed four-wheel drive that gets you almost anywhere, anytime. Its big, powerful 2.4-liter engine has more than enough muscle to make the almost impossible passable. The 1982 Toyota 4x4, something to bark about.
What a feeling. Toyota.
This Bud's for the guys who make our engines purr like a kitten and roar like a lion.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Canon presents a new camera.
John, I'm working. Can I have my camera back?
Just one more.
It's Canon's new AE1 program. Even simpler to use.
This new Canon AE1 program's super. Just one more.
No matter how tough the light, the new program mode makes it easy to shoot like a pro.
Here, get to work.
The new AE1 program.
Keep your eye on the ball.
So advanced, it's simple. And more of both.
We're working lap 40 in South Africa. This is Bruce Flanders, along with Pete Lyons for Grand Prix today. And the excitement so far has been the Renaults. Boy, have the Renaults been in charge, but it looked like a little whiff of oil smoke off of that one.
Yes, that one's in trouble. That's Alain Prost, and he's... is it?
Yeah,
yes,
it is. Number 15, Alain Prost, with some kind of a problem. And Prost has been our leader since he took it away from René Arnoux on approximately the 14th lap. It looks like he's trying to limp it back to the pits. And Prost...
Yeah, look, the front wheel's up in the air.
There is something seriously wrong with this car, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
look at that
it's
right
down
front
at the
wheel.
left rear. There's something wrong with the left rear. I think the left rear tire is gone.
That would explain it. A flat left rear tire would cause, the way these cars sit so low to the ground, would cause that right front to lift up. And I think Prost is... Well, is it flat or not? We can't tell from this angle, but obviously he's got some kind of a mechanical problem. Oh,
For sure.
flat?
Look at that tire. It's coming off the rim now.
That baby isn't flat. It's gone. That tire's
rubber. Look at that rubber breaking the body apart in the back.
And he's trying to lift it all the way back. Here comes the entrance to the pit gate. Now we'll see those Frenchmen go to work on this car because he doesn't look like, well, he might have damaged some other things.
That could damage the suspension of that car. What a shame. He was in such a good lead.
Oh, he had, what a tremendous drive. In fact, it was getting to the point where it was almost boring. Alain Prost had this thing in the back of his hand. But now, Alain Prost appears to be history. He pulls by his backup car that was sitting in the pits. They tell me in control that we've got another look at that, and here it comes.
Yes, we just saw it. You saw that puff of smoke from the left rear. And here you can, it's, yes, that left rear tire is definitely down. Look how much he's slowed down. Everyone's going by him.
Well, it's got to be a heck of a deal for the man who was leading the whole event up until now. And look at that right front. As we're in the replay mode, the left rear obviously flat, and the right front way
There's only two wheels on the track at the moment.
He's like riding a bicycle with a strange wheelbase, right?
Yeah. Okay, and Bruce, now we see the part where his tire is about to come off. Watch this. Look at that. Destroy that rear of that car. Good thing another car didn't come along and hit that tire. There's a lot of rubber there.
Boy, that tire could go off and through one of the fences and up into the grandstands, too.
But look what the remainder is doing to the back of the car. It's just flailing around.
It's whipping around and beating on the suspension system's got to hurt.
Oh, that car's out.
Well, dropping Alain Prost out of this one now moves Carlos Reutemann, who started 9th on the grid, up to the 2nd place spot with 35 laps to go. And out in front of it, it is René Arnoux, the teammate of Alain Prost, the only remaining Renault, right?
He was the fastest driver at the start of the race. He seems to have lost some speed. I can't tell if this removed what's wrong, but he was not able to fight back when his teammate came up and passed him. But now his teammate's gone into the pits, and here is the pole sitter again leading this race.
And there's a normally aspirated car in 2nd place, something we had not foretold would happen for sure. Reutemann apparently has been just picking them off all the way through.
And the turbos have gone away from the front, while Reutemann, who started to retire this year, is now in 2nd place in this Grand Prix.
All right, so the Renault people are quite happy. In fact, the American Motors people here in the United States quite happy to see their brand label out in front of this one in South Africa. And René Arnoux, a strong young driver, as we pointed out. Well, not that young. He's 33 years of age. His teammate, Alain Prost, who is now, by the way, out of the pit area. They have replaced that left rear tire, and he's out on the racetrack, but he's lost a whole lap, so I don't think he's a
That
factor.
surprises me. I thought there was a lot of damage, and I don't know whether there's anything bent in his car. And besides which, if he's lost a complete lap, there's virtually no chance in modern Grand Prix racing that he can make up a complete lap and do anything in this race.
I think there's an old axiom about if you hit the pits in a Formula One race, you just about mark your chances away, right?
There are very few times that that's not true.
All right, so the Frenchmen have all got their fingers crossed as they've got one still out in front. The Englishmen are chasing them with Carlos Reutemann, the Argentine, driving it. And there's a good shot of René Arnoux. And as you say, he's not using all the track. He's very smooth.
You know, that car is not as fast as it ought to be through those curves. He's slowing down.
All right, maybe some kind of a problem developing again. Turbos
There's something wrong with that car, but there's something wrong in the corners. You see how slow he is in the corner comparatively?
Mm-hmm.
That Ford engine car that he passed some time ago is still with him in the tight parts of the track.
Well, the heat, the tires, a lot of things becoming a factor here in the last part of this race. And it's the Renault still out in front of it. There's a real good shot of number 16, René Arnoux, who inherited the lead when Prost went away with the tire. And René Arnoux, as you pointed out, we've been mentioning it to everyone, his car not able to pull away from Michele Alboreto. That should be a horsepower section.
Well, you see him pulling away there on the straight, but the other car was right close to him in the corner. There's something wrong with the Renault in the corners.
All right, and we have got also, by the way, a word for those of you who thought that we were all done as far as Alain Prost is concerned. Prost is back into the action, out of the pit area, and running approximately 8th place, according to our score charts at the moment. 8th place isn't bad. I thought he was history.
But he's a whole lap back. This will be amazing if he can make much of a dent on his team leader.
All right. Let's set it again. It is René Arnoux out in front of it. Number 27. No, check that. Not number 27 anymore. But one of the right there.
That's
number 28.
Peroni's back after his pit stop.
Peroni, who has had nothing but mental anguish with this driver strike and everything over this weekend, he's back in contention.
The chance to face the high pressure of driving the racing car must have been a real relief to him.
That turbocharged Ferrari, that one apparently seems to be holding up quite well. It looks like everything's working well on it at the moment.
But it certainly is not the turbo day that everyone expected.
And aren't the Ferraris on Goodyears and the Renaults on Michelin?
That's true.
All right, we want to keep everybody straight on that tire war because it's a center point of controversy for Formula One.
The interesting thing about the tire war is that tires are about the only unrestricted performance factor in Formula One nowadays.
After 46 laps, René Arnoux, Carlos Reutemann, Didier Peroni, KK Rosberg, John Watson, and Niki Lauda.
That's
Lauda,
good.
Super Rats.
That's good for Niki Lauda. He started 13th, and he's back up in the points in 6th place.
And a lot of aficionados of Formula One have really been watching Lauda all the way through this, and I think he has been tremendously smooth in his ride.
Yes, he came back for an awful lot of money. I've heard a rumor of $3 million as a fee.
That's Renault's pair. I didn't mean to interrupt, but is that...
Good Lord.
We're trying to unlap ourselves, I think. Alain Prost is back up and working.
Yes.
Alain Prost trying to get around René Arnoux. Now, would Arnoux let him by easy?
In this circumstance, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, he's letting him by.
That looked easy. Like here. Let me give you the lead, right?
Yeah.
And still, Michele Alboreto is a factor in this thing right behind Arnoux. So I think you're totally correct. Arnoux' engine has gone off-song or something is going
I think
wrong
it's something wrong in the chassis or the tires. It's not gripping in the corners.
And Alain Prost is now in the 8th or 7th. I'm not totally sure
well,
on that.
He's definitely on the same lap now. There's nothing wrong with his car. Look at him go.
Oh, he is pulling away from the leader of this event at the moment. Even though they're teammates, he is able to put a lot more horsepower to the ground and just walking away. But he's got a whole lap to unwalk and not a lot of time to do it in. All right, pit signs being given as they go by the start-finish line area once again. We're still eyes on the leader right there. That is Arnoux. And Prost has gone by, and he has gone off into the distance at this moment.
Yep, he's gaining a lot of ground there.
Do you think Arnoux is... Do drivers get to where they're counting their championship points in their mind?
Well, someone's gone off. Someone's gone off.
There's some dust there somewhere. I don't know. Apparently, it is nothing to really bother us or what. We're not going to see it. And it looks like it's still just going to stay on the lead now.
Yes, it's Derek Warwick in the Tolman.
The Englishman has gone off and into the catch fence and apparently took a pretty good lick, but that is he walking away.
Out of the car, yes, he's okay. Once again, the catch fences have done a pretty darn good job of stopping that car without any real destruction to the driver.
Well, after 48 laps, apparently Derek Warwick is okay. René Arnoux is leading it. Carlos Reutemann second. Didier Peroni third. KK Rosberg is fourth. Fifth is Watson. Sixth is Lauda. And we are coming back this time and headed right for the checkered flag.
Michelob brings you the 7-day weekend.
We're in the final stages of this Grand Prix, the opening of the 1982 Grand Prix season at Kyalami, South Africa. And we're looking at Didier Peroni in the Ferrari in the pits, and that's a problem because he was in about second or third place.
He was as high as second place for one lap, and now he's in the pits.
But the real story has got to be with Alain Prost. While we were gone, Alain Prost came charging through the pack at an enormous clip.
It's incredible.
And this man has gone from 8th place after having that flat tire. You can see the body damage on the car, and he has now apparently, just while we were looking at the Ferrari, taken over the lead from René Arnoux. So it is Prost in front, Arnoux in second, and Reutemann third.
He's made up a whole lap on his teammate, and he's back in the lead of this race. This is amazing.
This has been the most unbelievable Formula One race. It puts to rest the idea that you cannot make a pit stop and come back, because Alain Prost is living history of the fact that you can come back and charge, Pete.
You know, I have to go back in my memory to Jimmy Clark at Monza in the late 1960s to find a case anything like this.
Well, I remember Barney Oldfield once. No, never mind, but it is still out in front. Alain Prost, and what a drive he has had. I'm telling you, this man can whistle this car around a racetrack. And we had written him off at one time. I don't know how many of you at home had also written him off.
He had fallen to 8th place and was a lap back.
And also that Peroni apparently is in deep trouble in the pit area. The Italians are busy talking to each other. I think it might be some kind of an electrical problem. The car was not running well. But look at the body flap around on Alain Prost, and I don't know if you can feel it at home, But you listen to this car and feel him drive. He is shoving this car around a racetrack, picking perfect lines, and going as quick now as he was earlier. Haven't they put him on some softer tires? Is that a chance?
I would imagine so. There aren't many laps left, and they could put him on the softest tire they have and to get the best lap times out of it. They don't have to last very long, those tires.
Well, we've been talking tire wars, and that's a pair of Michelin's, but it's the second set. And it's unusual to find a man winning a Formula One race on a second set of tires.
You don't often make a pit stop in Formula One and do any good.
Tremendous drive by that turbocharged Renault driver.
And I'm sure he's hoping there's nothing else wrong with the car. It doesn't look like it. I'm not suggesting there is because he's really flying, but maybe down in the back of his mind there's got to be this little thought, what if I damage something in an earlier incident?
Well, according to our lap charts, there's 2 laps to go, and I have to say that tentatively because in Formula One racing, you never really know when the checkered flag comes out. Unlike NASCAR or USAC, there is no white flag lap. And we're looking tight on our leader right now, number 15, Alain Prost. And I don't know how best to describe this, but one of the most awesome stories, I know that's an overused word, but one of the wildest stories in Formula One racing, to come back from 8th place and making it, right now it looks like he's on his way to the checkered flag, Pete.
This is going to make him feel good.
Well, I'll tell you what, picking up those championship points, he was tabbed by Nelson Piquet in a preseason story. Alain Prost is tabbed as the man to win this year. We'll find out. Next race that we're going to have with him is going to be in Brazil. And now we're back down to the sea level. And that will make it an interesting type of a thing compared to the 6,000 feet elevation here at Kyalami. Interesting, for those of you that haven't been following our turbocharger story, turbos work at the high elevations and the normally aspirated cars are at a distinct disadvantage. Here we are, headed down, maybe about the last lap and a half to go, and you're watching a much damaged Renault with a very hard charging Alain Prost at the wheel.
He's still not backing off at all. He's still crisp and clean and neat and driving very hard.
All right, well, we might just see this young man on the checkered flag stand after this is over. We're going to have to watch and see. The way this has gone so far, we're not going to put anybody in the checkered flag area until it happens.
This is a race he richly deserves.
Boy, richly deserves. Good choice of phrases right there. Alain Prost in front of the crowd of 80,000 people on a
Look at them waving.
Warm, hot day. Yeah, they're all pumped up.
Yeah, this will be the checkered flag lap, I'm sure.
Boy, I don't know how many more it'll go.
There he goes. See his arm come up?
There it is, the checkered flag, and it is Alain Prost, the 25-year-old Frenchman coming down to the checkers and taking the win. And who is going to finish in second place? According to our charts, it is going to be that hard-charging, normally aspirated car of Carlos Reutemann. Reutemann ends up second place.
That's been a good drive today for Carlos.
If it holds up, that's almost gift points, isn't it, as far as the points race?
He's now only 3 points behind the man in the lead of the World Championship.
All right, here it is. Prost picking up 9 points for the win. Reutemann, 6 points for second place. Our new, as we have it, gets 3rd and 4 points. Niki Lauda, what a comeback effort, 3 championship points. K.K. Rosberg picking up 2, and John Watson, the last point awarded, which is 6th place and just for 1. It's been one of the most interesting Formula One races I think we've ever seen, Pete. And right now, Victory Circle is the scene of chaos, effectively, as everybody is headed there to try and either get a picture or get some of the champagne sprayed on them or whatever. But here it is, around the Victory Circle area, and they're getting all set for them. What we've got to do right now is bring you up to date on the points championship. The Drivers' Championship run, Keke Rosberg getting 2 points, and John Watson, the last point awarded. Now, there's also another form of a points chase that goes along with this, too, isn't there, Pete?
Yes, and although it doesn't get quite as much publicity as the Drivers' Championship, the people involved think the Constructors' Cup is just as important. And the interesting thing here is we have 2 cars from each of 3 teams in the top 6. Renault, the turbocharged car, now has 13 points as a result of the first and third place. Williams, which is the defending Constructors' Champion from last year with 8, and McLaren with 4 points. So we have 1 turbo team, 2 regular teams, 2 Michelin teams, and 1 Goodyear team.
It's always interesting, too, to see these drivers celebrating at the end, the Moet champagne and everything else as it comes down. It brings a lot of excitement, a lot of color to this very fantastic sport.
And what a dramatic race this is. What an interesting series of events that you could not have predicted. What a way to start the season.
1982 is going to be a tough one. I'm looking forward to the same-day coverage that we'll be doing later this year. Well, that's it from Kyalami, South Africa, and that covers all the points race for the constructors and the drivers and everything. And on behalf of Grand Prix Today, Mike Dudson, who was on location, Pete Lyons, who was here in the studio with us, this is Bruce Flanders saying thank you very much for watching and reminding you that we'll be again covering the Grand Prix Sunday, March 21st from Brazil.
Grand Prix Today was brought to you by Toyota,